my Diane.
Hello and welcome to Long Live Hooky Street, the podcast where we rewatch and discuss every episode of Britain's most beloved TV comedy, Only Fools and Horses. I'm Jenny and I'm joined from Hong Kong by my co-host and sister Heather. Say hello, dude.
Hello, everyone. So we have reached the end of Series 4. Today, as we've done before, we are doing our series wrap episode where we sum up our thoughts on the series as a whole and go over our rankings and our favourite lines and moments. So we will also respond to our comments, which may include some corrections or clarifications that we might need to make. And of course, we will end, as always, with our quiz that I have written for Jenny this time.
That's right. So we're going to get started with our comments. Before we do that, we did just want to pay a tribute to actor Patrick Murray, who sadly lost his battle with cancer during the time that we were actually recording this series. So Patrick obviously played the legendary Mickey Pierce, and he passed away on September 29th, just over a month ago. And our episodes were coming out without us addressing this, so we just wanted to make sure that we dip in here and add this in. It's mostly because we're recording about 6 weeks ahead, so it's hard for us to address current events during each episode, but we wanted to extend our thoughts to his family and friends, and we share the sadness with the Only Fools and Horses fan community at this time. Dude, what were some of your favourite Mickey Pierce lines or moments?
Well, I mean, the one that always pops into my head is, "Night nurse, take one." Because I think that's probably one of the most famous moments that he said. And then, of course, healthy competition, because I love the episode. And it's his first episode that he was in, not mentioned in, but actually in. And
right.
Yeah, I fell in love with his character right away. It's one of my favourite episodes. So, yeah. What about you?
I think some of the best lines he's had. I mean, he has that bit where he's singing "Help" on the bus in Jolly Boy's outing, which is pretty legendary.
True. Great moment.
The Coach Busters line has got to be one of his most famous, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I really feel like
great.
Mickey Pierce is such a great side character, like a really great little, addition that John Sullivan could bring in every now and then. And he's actually in so many different situations and storylines throughout the years. So,
well, actually, if you think about it, Mickey Pierce is really the only one that's Rodney's friend.
Yeah.
I mean, all the others, they're Dell's friends, aren't they, that Rodney also hangs out with. But Mickey Pierce is Rodney's mate, and he's the only one. I guess they bring in Jevon as well later on, but from the very beginning of the series right to the end, Mickey Pierce is Rodney's bud.
Yeah, but then they bring him in like Little Problems. He's got absolutely nothing to do with Rodney in that episode, right? So like he comes along and he ends up getting involved in some of Dell's business ventures. Like he becomes the photographer at the wedding, at the christening,
and the babysitter.
Yeah, and the babysitter, yeah. Right? So like there's lots of like little additional bits that he's in, and yeah, he was such a great character. So
yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, just so our listeners know, we are planning to do a character featurette soon on Mickey Pierce and many of the other characters. But due to November being an incredibly busy month for both of us, these are likely not going to come out before the end of this year. But we hope that we can get at least one done in November. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's right. It's getting a little busy. We've gotten to a point now where we're getting quite a lot of comments and messages, and obviously we can't address all of them. So I've been trying to think of a way that we can organize this a little better. So we're going to try this. We're going to start with the general overall elaborations and corrections, so for the whole series, and then we'll go through episode by episode and address some of the comments from each one. And it's very important for us to note here that as of recording, we've only released up to Watching the Girls Go By. So any comments from As One Door Closes and To Hull and Back, we will have to wait until our next end of series summary to address any really specific comments that need to be addressed about that. We have to record quite far ahead, as we've mentioned, to be able to keep up with the weekly schedule. So we don't want to let you guys down by missing a publishing date. That's the reason that we do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this one is an elaboration on our discussion of BAFTA awards from Happy Returns. So David Jason discusses in his newest biography about the time that Only Fools and Horses won their first BAFTA, which, as we discussed in Happy Returns, was supposedly for that episode. Although we were unsure how that worked. And we're still not sure because it doesn't actually explain it in David Jason's book. It was the BAFTA for Best Comedy Series in 1985. And David Jason remembers that they played a scene from the show before they gave the award. Can you guess what scene they played? And I'll give you a hint. It's not from Series 4.
A scene from the show.
It's like a little moment from the show. Yeah, think of the first 3 series. Like which scene gets showed all the time.
the touch of glass.
Yeah, it was a chandelier.
Yeah, chandelier falling.
Yeah. So they played that on the BAFTA screen before they gave the award. So it was not from Happy Return. So again, like, it doesn't really make sense. Again, like, no. Unless when you nominate the series, you say, okay, here's the episode. This is my nomination. Because that's how it's done with actors. They submit an episode as a Emmy nomination, for example. And then they only watch that episode to judge. So maybe that's how it works. Nobody was able to tell us any of this information, so we still don't know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then another little side story about the BAFTAs in general, and this does go forward in time to 1997. David Jason also mentions in his book the 1997 BAFTAs, and which we will discuss in a later episode, obviously, but I'm bringing it up now because I watched it on YouTube and I thought it was interesting to talk a little bit about the future while we're on the subject of the BAFTAs. And Buster Murrayfield went up to pick up the BAFTA and he fell over when he went to receive the BAFTA. So a lot of people will know what this clip is. They won in 1997 the BAFTA for funniest comedy moment for the Batman and Robin scene in Heroes and Villains. Buster Murrayfield fell over and he got a nasty knock on the head. Would you like one? Next, please. I just thought it was interesting because not only do we see Kenneth MacDonald as well and Gwyneth Strong, they both go up with Buster Murrayfield to pick up the award. It says on the commentary, like the guy reading out said this was the last, like, there is no more Only Fools and Horses. I thought that was really interesting because at the time
they didn't know
they thought there was no more, right? And so David Jason says in his book, I loved the idea of an Only Fools and Horses sequence receiving an award, and that award was being picked up on the night by cast members who weren't even in that scene. It firmly underscores the fact that these shows are a team game where everyone depends on everyone else. So
yeah,
I thought that was really great. And
no, that's lovely. Yeah, even though Buster Murrayfield got injured, which is not good, but
that was really sad actually. Yeah, he looks really happy when he's going up to pick up the award, and when he actually comes up on the stage, he's like upset. You can tell he's upset. So gotta watch it though. We'll talk about it again when we get to 1997. It'll be in the future.
So now we want to do a shout out to all of our regular commenters, some of whom have been with us forever, actually, a bit like the income tax. A lot of these are from YouTube, but we tried to get them from all our platforms. So we hope everyone doesn't mind us saying their names, and we'll just try to use names if we think they are your name and not a username. So before I read these names, I just want to apologize if I mispronounce any of your names. I'm used to doing that living in Hong Kong. So Sean Isaacs, Joshua Swain, Anthony Hennessy, Ian Biles, who is also ranking along with us. Thank you for that. Ed McKay for always helping us with our knowledge gaps. Ed Jackson for trying hard to get us some guests on the show.
Ray McNamara, who loves Victor and Hugo as much as us. Scott Andrew Brass, Elvis Leeboy, John Hughes for your lovely Instagram and Facebook comments too. Matty Bate, Pablo Colella, Mia, Flatcap Hoovian, and Rachel Fleming.
Also, Eden Scott, Serge Vincent, Dem Bones, Tom, Oliver P., Ian Turner, Calvin Mark Payne, Jamie Smith Vox, Belfast Man United Therapy, Grillerg, Steve Vaughan, Ash's Mini Vlogs, Validated Warrior, Tip Top, Brit Loyal, Dan Slider, Richard James, Simon Price, Gimmick Street, Franny and Mark Evans, Trotter's Independent Gaming, How What Why, Dexter, and Jordan Gifford.
So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we will be forever grateful for your support in these early days of our podcast. And again, if we missed anybody out or anybody didn't get included this time, we're going to continue this next time. So keep up with the comments if you can, and we will make sure that we get you on our list. But let's move on to some episode-specific comments.
So we're starting with Happy Returns. Gone away for a bit. We said it meant he was having an affair, and one of our Spotify listeners, Early Bet Often, said it meant that he's in prison. Now, I think we knew that, but we didn't make it clear. So Del's joke was a reference to an affair, but her husband actually is in prison. So that gets mentioned in the pub too, and he stole some of the watches. So thank you for that one. So also in Happy Returns, Ed McKay said, The line at the end about the railway line to Mickey is definitely to insinuate that the past is repeating itself, as Mickey and Rod are the best mates and he's taking his bird out. So that was something I think I mentioned and Jenny disagreed a little bit. So thank you for that one.
So now this is an interesting story that I didn't actually find out until after we recorded Happy Returns, but it would have been cool to keep it in this episode. So Del's storyline is actually, it kind of came true in real life for David Jason. So there's quite a lot of the story in This Time Next Year, his newest autobiography. But just briefly, in 1970, David Jason was in a production of Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood, where he rekindled a friendship with Jennifer Hill and described how they had a brief fling and it was nothing serious, and that was pretty typical, like things move on. And she went on to marry actor Jeffrey Davian, and his career kept him very busy after that, so many, many years passed. Then Abby Hill, Jennifer Hill's daughter, now aged 50, wrote to David Jason stating that she had struggled for many years with the thought that her paternity was uncertain, and she kindly requested David Jason to take a paternity test. By now, Jeffrey Davian had already passed away. David Jason agreed and was bewildered to find out that Abby was his biological daughter. So he does have a new daughter in his very, very late years. So it's almost like it's Abby, not Debbie, but yeah, they have a great relationship now, which is really nice. And he talks quite a lot about that in his newest autobiography. So that's This Time Next Year.
Oh, that is a lovely story.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to strained relations. So we don't have too many for this one. Bet early, bet often. Let us know again that where we were unsure. The batteries that we were talking about, the big heavy batteries, are car batteries. And I ought to know that, the amount that I've had to pay for my car. And for this one, we got a lot of really nice comments because of how emotional the episode is for a lot of fans and us. So like, yeah, with the way that everybody feels about this episode, it inspired a lot of nice comments. So we got tons of really sweet stuff and we loved reading all of them. So we're glad you all feel the same way we do about this episode. Let's move on to Hole in One.
So here we had plenty of comments, which definitely highlights our overall lack of football knowledge. So Ed McKay said, Millwall fans' motto is everybody hates us and we don't care. And they have a notorious firm, particularly during the 80s hooliganism period. And Calvin Mark Payne said, Millwall FC in the 70s and 80s had a notorious football hooligan reputation. They have never won the FA Cup. Bet Early, Bet Often on Spotify said Millwall fans have a bad reputation for hooliganism, particularly in the 1980s. And they are by no means the only club with a troublesome following, but they are regarded by many as probably the worst. This is all fascinating to us because we know nothing about this.
We are really grateful for the football comment elaborations.
Yes.
Yeah, very helpful.
And finally, for Hole in One, Gareth Nelson on Spotify said there is a lot of artistic license in the court scene, because we did ask about that, about a real court scene and how similar it was. And also he thought that Mike wasn't on the trotter's side as he kept paying attention to his neck. So that's a great point. And we kind of forgot that poor Mike actually was injured by this incident and didn't try to sue anybody. So he was likely trying to get some sympathy. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
What about It's Only Rock and Roll, dude?
Yeah, so first and foremost, we need to respond to the biggest mistake that we made in that episode. And we're not quite sure how this happened, but we somehow left out a really important scene.
Yes.
So Jamie said, that's Jamie Vox-Smith, I believe, that definitely something to consider for our wrap-up episode, that we overlooked what he thinks is one of the best moments in the entire series. When Del goes full manipulation in the garage, Rodney finally calls him out on his bullshit.
Whatever the subject is, Mum had something to say about it on her deathbed. She must have spent her final few hours in this mortal realm doing nothing but rabbiting.
You are walking a bleeding tightrope here, Rodney.
Well, hang on. Right, you remember last week we was having a row about whose turn it was to go down a chippy, yeah? And you claim that Mum said on her deathbed to send Rodney for the fish.
Absolute cinema, great payoff for that recurring gag, and it deserved an honourable mention at least. Very true. I don't know what happened. I think it's like a combination of factors.
That must be my fault, to be honest, because I'm the one who edits. So if something is left out clip-wise, it's my doing. So Jenny takes no blame for that. It was me, an oversight from me, so I'm sorry about that.
Well, here I wrote, I think it's a combination of factors that led us to accidentally cutting the quote off early and not addressing it. Jamie is quite right. This is a very significant moment in Only Fools and Horses history, and it's up there with Rodney asking Trig why he calls him Dave. It's like, it doesn't stop Del saying Mom said on her deathbed for years and years to come, but he even says it in the very end sequence. Well, we're going to call it the very end. It wasn't. The end sequence of them walking off into the sunset. We can't, like, he mentions it then, and like, so he says it all the way through. It's a continuing joke. And yeah, it's very important, and it probably should have even been the best line that week. I mean, we can't apologize enough for accidentally leaving it out.
So I'll just reiterate what Jenny said, that, yeah, I think this is a very important moment. And again, I think I saw that quote before I saw the episode because it was in one of the documentaries. And yeah, I for the life of me, I must have been too tired when I was editing that episode. I must have just skipped over it accidentally. But yeah, it's a great quote. And as you mentioned, very significant to Only Fools and Horses. So yeah.
Yeah. And actually, if we just go back to what we were saying when we actually recorded the episode, that I was saying about this scene being a really significant, Rodney's sort of attacking Dell's character here and saying that he always puts Rodney's needs aside and goes ahead full, just caring about money and not worrying about
Rodney.
Yeah. And he's actually did, like, in this episode, I specifically highlighted that I was upset by the fact that he derails Rodney's dream again, but this one seems more serious. Like, this time Rodney really does seem dejected. And him bringing up this like particular tactic that Dell always uses to get his way is very significant in this scene. So, I mean,
True.
he's saying that Dell always says it, but I'm trying to think how many other times have we actually seen Dell say, Mom said on her deathbed to this point. But it's very important that he addresses it at this point, because for years to come, Dell will keep saying, Mom said on her deathbed, and Rodney doesn't say anything about it.
I'm fairly certain that I did mention that in this episode, that he doesn't say it often. He says it for the first time, I believe, in The Yellow Peril. And in Big Brother, in the first episode, he does something similar, but he says, what's that noise? That was Mom turning in a grave.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first time he mentions about their mom to manipulate Rodney. And then he does say it in The Yellow Peril when they're sitting by the grave. And because Rodney says, "Started, did she?"
Yes. Right.
So yeah, I think that's the only times before this episode that he says it. But if we've missed it, please let us know if it said more times.
And
than
it's,
that.
again, very significant that he is fighting back against Dell at this point, and Dell's always using that tactic to be, I'm the older brother, I had the relationship with Mom, and I know what she said on her deathbed and stuff.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, when Rodney says that she must have spent her last few hours in this mortar realm doing nothing but reveting. Very funny. So I think we've already said this, but we're really sorry that we left that out and we didn't want to disappoint our fans. So sorry, Jamie, and we hope that we have made it right. So also we have Rachel. Rachel said, I loved this episode. Daniel Peacock stole the show as Mental Mickey. He also did a great turn in One Foot in the Grave episode. He was the one who buried Victor Meldrew alive and was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where he and the rest of the British cast outshine the majority of the American cast, barring Morgan Freeman. So that's some great insight there into Daniel Peacock's acting history. Some of the British classics mentioned there. We love it. And thank you very much for that, Rachel. And Scott said, wasn't Rodney's musical ability first mentioned in Thicker Than Water, where he played bugle in the Boys Brigade? Good point there.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That was really a really good catch, because, I didn't think about that at all.
No, and we both said, I think, in that episode, Rodney has never shown interest in music before or again since. So
Yes.
good catch there by Scott. Let's move on to Sleeping Dogs Lie.
Okay, so Zapplecore said, I think the sausage dog joke is meant to be one of Dell's corny chat-up lines. Yes, I completely agree with that. He's trying to, get with that lady that he's talking to. But I just love that line. But thank you for your comment on that. And Elvis Leeboy said, funny you mentioned Carry On Film several times, as well as the risk of mixing up medication, because that's how Kenneth Williams' dad died. And Brian Jameson plays Brian Epstein in the film Birth of the Beatles, and the only Beatle biopic made, well, all four of them were still alive.
Yeah, and that's actually quite significant as well, because there's lots of Beatles references in Only Fools and Horses, and even to Paul McCartney's song being featured in Only Fools and Horses later. But there's quite a lot of... and of course, him calling him Ringo in the episode before is one that's pretty close as well. So.
And also, we love Carry On Film, so yes, you'll notice a lot of those references dotted through our podcast. We can't help but quote from our favourite Carry On films sometimes. So what about Watching the Girls Go By?
Yeah, so Watching the Girls Go By is going to be the final one that we're able to address today. But yeah, please do keep comments coming for the others, and we will note them for the next series wrap. So we talked a little bit about that Bo Diddley line in the show, and this is interesting because I just started listening to another podcast, which is about Frasier, and it's called We're Listening, and it's a really great podcast. So if you like Frasier, listen to it. These two guys are also from the West Midlands, so it's kind of like very similar to us. And they mentioned this joke really early on, and I was like, oh, they're talking about the Bo Diddley thing. That's weird. So I Googled Bo Derek Bo Diddley, and it's like attributed to Frasier, not Only Fools and Horses, which we know Only Fools and Horses actually came first. Sorry,
Frasier. Yeah.
So it's the exact same joke. It's in series 4, episode 2, Love Bites Dog, and it's said by Roz in pretty much the exact same context. She said a body that makes Bo Derek look like Bo Diddley. It's the same joke.
I can't believe I didn't notice that. I'm a huge Frasier fan. I thought I would have picked up on that.
Well, me too. I am the same. Like, I watched the episode again the other day just to be sure that I was quoting it right, and I was like, yeah, how have I never clicked that? I think it's because I'm not huge on watching The Girls Go By, but you haven't got an excuse because you rated it number 30. So I'm guessing there's quite a lot of crossover in the listener base between Only Fools and Horses and Frasier, considering the era. Yeah, let us know if you already noticed that. But if you Google it, it just comes up with Frasier. It doesn't even attribute it to... And I'm sure John Sullivan did not write this reference.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's probably in like a really old episode or something that we haven't got a clue about. But yeah, it's interesting that Frasier's the one that got the credit for the joke.
Yeah. So then, several of our listeners, I'm just going to say several here, pointed out that Heather's observation that Helga was a prostitute. They agree with that. But I know I was having a hard time last week because I tried to look at all the comments, and every time anybody wrote prostitute, the comment got hidden. I don't know why. I was like, oh, they don't like that word on YouTube.
Very sensitive.
Yeah. I was like, okay, YouTube. I was like, I swear I saw it. It was there.
It was there.
I saw it on my main screen of my phone. So I was like, oh, interesting. I went in to look at the comment and it's gone. And I was like, you have to research by put newest or whatever to get it to come up. But yeah, several people agreed with that. And I never thought that, but yeah, Heather was totally right, I guess, in this case.
And I just thought I had a mucky mind. I'm glad that everyone else does as well.
No, you're probably right. The way that Del says at the end, like the story gets you right here, like bile. It's like, because the story had like a dark twist at the end. Yeah,
it's like, you thought it was a love story and it turns out she was a prostitute. That's, what I thought.
Exactly. So and then finally Ed McKay again comes to save the day by letting us know that a right Brahma means an excellent specimen. It comes from Joseph Brahma, an engineer who invented safes. So burglars used to say if they couldn't crack a safe, it was a right Brahma. So anything that's of high quality and hard to get your hands on was said to be a right Brahma. So that's
fantastic. Really helpful explanation for us.
Yeah, I actually got the same message from Dad 2 days later explaining what a right Brahma was. So that's really... I guess I should have looked that up, and I'm sure I could have found the answer, but I just didn't, and I don't know why. But I'm really glad that people want to help us with understanding the jokes and references, things that are not from our generation. And if we have to look them up, we can't explain them as well as people who already know. So
yeah, very true.
Great. Thank you so much for everybody. As we mentioned, we're recording this episode on Halloween, so the final 3 episodes of the series that came out had not come out at the time of recording, so we will not be able to address them, as I've said. So thank you for your understanding. So I do have one note here about To Hull and Back, though, just because I happened to learn this in the meantime. So we mentioned in To Hull and Back that the Trotters did a photo shoot for the cover of the 1985 Christmas edition of the Radio Times, but I've since learned that there was also an actual TV advert that ran alongside it to promote the show that is available to watch on YouTube. So if you just search Radio Times Only Fools and Horses advert 1985, you'll see it's available to watch on channels British Comedy's Finest and Craig Webber. It's basically the Trotters all sitting around with Albert dressed up as Father Christmas, and they're all reading the Radio Times talking about the Christmas lineup. So it's quite fun to watch because it's just got that classic old Christmas vibes to it. So same as that photo I mentioned that was on the front of the Radio Times with Albert dressed as Father Christmas. So yeah, it's quite cool to watch that. So dude, if anybody wants to join or become more involved in our community, what can they do?
You can go ahead and subscribe here on YouTube. This would be something that would really help us out because our watch hours are insane, but our subscribers are still quite low. Obviously, we're very grateful to everyone who's already subscribed, but if you can find more people that you think might be interested in our podcast, please, recommend us if you do recommend us. And remember to like our episodes as well, because if you like them, as we already mentioned, we love to read your comments. But the like count also helps us to get more exposure. So yeah, just give them a like. And obviously our comments are wonderful for that as well. You can also find us and give us a follow and a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and Pocket Casts. So we'd also love for you to join our community on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to send us a direct email, you can do so at longlivehookeystreetpodcast@gmail.com. Also, sharing with your friends and fellow Only Fools and Horses fans is probably the most helpful thing you can do for us. And we'd really appreciate that. So we're just really excited to see our audience growing over time and all the hard work that we're putting in. You know, we really appreciate the feedback from everybody as well. So thank you for that. And finally, this is brand new and we're a little bit shy doing this, but we're going to try it out. You can now buy us a pina colada on buymeacoffee.com if you want to send us any extra thanks. So we'll include all the links in the episode description and on our social media pages. So Jenny and I spend a lot of time making these episodes for you guys. And again, it's already worthwhile seeing how many great responses that we are getting. But obviously, we would love for it to reach more people. Yeah, just to, you know, make more people happy listening to Only Fools and Horses stuff. So yeah, anything you can do to help us would be greatly appreciated. So how about we start our show history section?
Okay, sure, let's go ahead. So there's really no more need to talk about how the show was performing or the question of would the BBC want any more episodes. Now it was more just a case of fitting the production in of Only Fools and Horses around John Sullivan and Ray Butt's other projects. Only Fools and Horses had become a BBC staple by this point. So February 1986 saw the debut of John Sullivan's fourth sitcom, Dear John, and Ray Butt and Sullivan were super busy working on Just Good Friends, which was about to see its final series air at the end of the year. So when you think back about it now, it's amazing how much they were actually able to accomplish. Think back to those old 1981 days that we discussed in our first series. So filming for Series 5 started in April 1986. So for Series 5, Ray Butt continued to produce, but the director for many of these episodes was now Mandy Fletcher, former assistant floor manager. She says in Lovely Jubbly that she thinks Ray was too ill to do it, but he did return to direct the last 2 episodes of the series. That's Video Nasty and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So she feels lucky to have been the director for what she describes as some pretty classic episodes, and I would agree. So one pretty big thing that happened between Series 4 and 5 was that the set for the Nag's Head was given a significant makeover. The Nag's Head got a new red and cream striped wallpaper, and you may notice throughout some scenes that other angles of the pub were explored. Obviously, at the end of Series 5, they permanently changed the angle of the set. But I think we've mentioned this in the past. You can see, for example, like T for 3, Video Nasty, they use some pretty less static angles in the pub, which also almost includes the fourth wall. By the point we get to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it almost feels like the camera is in the pub with the people. Yeah. So, this was prior to the final big change that comes in Dates where they change the set. They're still using the old set, but they're more in the set and changing the angles of the bar. So Series 5 location shooting took place between April 30th and May 19th, 1986. So, dude, you were born while Series 5 was being filmed on location.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
That's crazy to think.
I wonder what episode they were filming the day you were born.
Probably Video Nasty, knowing my luck.
You were being born while the Miracle of Peckham scene was being filmed.
Oh my god, that would be funny.
You could have been.
The music that was playing when I was coming out.
What's interesting to think, that they were on location during the day you were being born. So either way, they were filming on the day you were born. That's pretty cool. So studio shootings took place on consecutive Sundays beginning June 1st, 1986 until July 13th, with a week's break before filming Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Speaking of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, we are only 6 weeks away from that episode now, and I think most fans will know that when the script was written, David Jason had told Sullivan he wanted it to be his last episode. He changed his mind so close to shooting that Sullivan did not have time to rewrite the whole episode, so they ended up tweaking the ending to make Del stay. So again, we will explore this more in 6 weeks' time, but a small story I found tells of the consideration of a live stage show of Only Fools and Horses to be performed at the end of 1985. David Jason was against the idea mostly because he felt the character of Del Boy was all he was being recognized for, and it was taking up a lot of his time. And he felt that a West End show was the last thing he needed to get involved in, despite it probably being quite lucrative. Money was not his main priority. I thought that was interesting because, at this stage, we'd love to get more in the side of the head of David Jason. What was he thinking ending Only Fools and Horses? Because if you look back at it now, why did he want to leave? He seems to love the character, and this was so early on.
Yeah, and it also seemed like this was the strongest. I mean, we haven't reviewed it yet, but I think most people agree that Series 5 is the strongest of the first 5 series. So yeah, it's like, I guess there is a chance he wanted to go out on a high, because a lot of actors do want to do that. Before things go badly, you want to get out, you know? The last 3 episodes of Only Fools and Horses are a great example of why it might be a good idea to get out when you're on a high. But yeah, I mean, this I agree was a really strange time to want to leave, and to think that we would not have had series 6 or series 7 if he'd left. I mean, my God, those 2 series are phenomenal. So yeah.
Well, I've already been reading ahead, obviously, and I also know that, and you know, there's other times throughout the episodes after this where they were like, "This is it. This is the end. This is the end. This is the end." They kept saying that over the time, basically. The end of Frog's Legacy is another time, because so it makes a very big turn after Frog's Legacy, like from the Frog's Legacy into dates. There's a huge change, huge shift. Ray Butt leaves, for example, and. There's lots of times, that they've thought about it, and you have to keep wondering, like, what is it about this particular time that they thought this is a good time to end? I just would love, to know what the main motivation was, and I think from what I've read, it sounds like he was just, overwhelmed with the fact that he was Del Boy, he was becoming Del Boy. Everybody knew him for Del Boy, and he wanted to grow his career, and we know in the future he does grow his career. He gets all these other characters, like A Touch of Frost and Darling Buds of May and all this other stuff.
But to be fair, that is still the character he is known for above anything else he's done. Nothing he's done has overshadowed Del Boy. And he knows that because he leans into it when he titles his autobiography.
Yeah, I mean, I know he knows it now. But yeah, think back. This was like 40 years ago almost. Yeah, he's basically... What was he thinking 40 years ago? Now, if he could look back.
So, David Jason, if you could comment and let us know what you were thinking.
And hey, come on the podcast. We'd love to do an interview.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to interview you.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that'll happen. But yeah, so that was that bit really. So since we don't have a lot of show history to cover this time, let's do our quick rundown of the main news headlines going on in the UK at that time, mostly in the entertainment industry. So this covers the second half of 1985 and early 1986.
So since we know John Sullivan liked James Bond. We'll throw this one in. On the 13th of June 1985, the 14th James Bond film, A View to a Kill, was released, marking the 7th and final appearance of Roger Moore as 007. So he's my favourite Bond. Who's your favourite Bond, dude?
Yeah, Roger Moore is my favourite Bond too.
I think that's because of For Your Eyes Only. We've mentioned it a few times. We love that film.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because the ones I saw the most had Roger Moore. Honestly, I'm more familiar with those. It doesn't mean the others aren't better. I just don't know if I've seen all the others.
I also love Live and Let Die. That scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. Yeah.
What do you think of the newest James Bonds? I like Pierce Brosnan.
I liked Casino Royale, Daniel Craig's first one, but everything after that, I didn't enjoy it.
They're very different now. They're a lot more gritty.
Very. Yeah. Yes. No, I liked Casino Royale with the grittiness. I thought it worked, but it did lean very heavily into the love story, which wasn't really very James Bond. I know he gets married in one of the other ones, but yeah, I don't know. They're just, I think the worst one was, ironically, Quantum of Solace. I went to watch that on my own in the cinema. And, like a sado. And I remember just thinking the whole way through it, like, what is this? Like, this is not James Bond. It was just very strange. I hear Skyfall is very good. I think I've only watched the first half of Skyfall.
I can't remember which ones I've seen in the last couple of years. I know I did go and see all of these at the cinema, but yeah, I don't remember them, so whatever that says.
Yeah.
So moving on, this is a bad one, but many will remember. On August 22nd, 1985, 55 people were killed in the Manchester air disaster at Manchester International Airport when a British Air Tours Boeing 737 burst into flames after the pilot aborted the takeoff.
I've got to say, I'm a bit more worried about flying Boeing these days. Every time I see that my planes are Boeing, I'm like, ah! I
do not like flying at all these days. Yeah, especially here in America, where some days they just can't fly because there's nobody at the air traffic control centers.
Oh, God.
They had to shut down Burbank Airport not long ago because there wasn't a single air traffic controller available to work.
Okay, so on September 1st, 1985, a joint French-American expedition located the wreck of the Titanic in the North Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, it took them a long time, didn't it? Do you remember what reference there is in Frog's Legacy to that?
To the Titanic?
Yeah, Albert says it when he.
It took him 70 years or something to find the Titanic.
Yeah. One day later, on September 2nd, England won the 1985 Ashes series in cricket.
And on September 6th, the first Toys R Us store opened in the UK in Woking, Wood Green and Basildon. Massive one for our childhood. Do you remember that Christmas advert? There's a magical place, we're almost there. Toys in a million, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. That is like a massive Christmas memory for me.
Yeah, for that, like, so you were only just being born here, but like, so do you remember when we were quite young that Mum and Dad took us to Toys R Us and they let us fill up the entire trolley?
I do.
And then they
With
wrapped
crap.
up. Yeah, and they wrapped. I can't believe how much stuff we got. It was insane.
Yeah,
I remember
do
getting
remember
the Little Mermaid figurines, like the little Ariel and Eric sitting on the boat.
I usually got Lego, but if I was really young, it was probably some other crap I bought.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was like we didn't go until you were a bit older because I remember you picking stuff out. So I'm guessing 1991 onwards.
Yeah, Lego was my go-to toy of choice. It still is. I bought a Lego set today.
Yeah, you do. But just Toys R Us is closed now.
Oh,
Right?
so Toys R Us is closed in the UK, but we still have them in Hong Kong. I walked past one today in the mall.
Oh, I wish they were still in the UK. Here's a West Midlands specific one for us. The first retailers move into the Merry Hill shopping centre near Dudley, West Midlands. A new shopping centre was scheduled to open alongside the developing retail park in 1986 in April. And it was anticipated to go into Europe's largest indoor shopping centre, with further development set to be completed by 1990. So I remember Merry Hill opening. So that's actually, you don't, well, you were a little bit younger. Yeah, I was 6. I just remember everyone talking about Merry Hill. And I was like, oh, I've never been to Merry Hill. And it sounded like a really great place because it was merry.
It sounds like where Santa might live.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm assuming Merry Hill is still a thing. Let us know.
So moving into 1986, on the 10th of January, we got the debut of the comedy drama mystery series Lovejoy on BBC One.
On the 12th of January, the game show Catchphrase was first broadcast on ITV, hosted by Roy Walker, along with the computer-generated character Mr. Chips.
I gotta say, that is one of my favourite clips on YouTube when they reveal the squares and it looks like Mr. Chips is jerking someone off.
Right, yeah, I've seen that.
That's one of my favourites.
Poor Mr. Chips, he was put in a really compromising
God.
position.
It's so funny though. If you haven't seen that clip, go and watch it. It's brilliant. You just type in catchphrase Mr. Chips reveal or something like that, it'll come up. So also on that date, Channel 4 began showing the first full series of the comedy and music show Saturday Live, with regular appearances by Ben Elton, Harry Enfield, Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie, Chris Barry, Craig Ferguson, and Julian Clary.
And finally, on the 3rd of April 1986, the children's animated series The Raggy Dolls made its debut on ITV, narrated by Neil Eanes. That debuted right before you were born. We watched that in our childhood, so...
Yeah, that's why... Well, the theme song's very catchy, obviously, because I still remember it all these years later.
It's a really great show because it's actually highlighting people should be friends no matter how they look or what they're self-conscious about. It's a good little message for kids, yeah. Okay, let's start talking about our rankings then, dude.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick summary of our episode order for Series 4 from our rankings and see how they compare. So take it away, dude.
Okay, so my order was number 1, To Hull and Back. Number 2, Hole in One. Number 3, Happy Returns. Number 4, Strained Relations. Number 5, Sleeping Dogs Lie. Number 6, As One Door Closes. Number 7, It's Only Rock and Roll. And number 8, Watching the Girls Go By. Let's hear yours, dude.
So my order was To Hull and Back, so the same as yours. As One Door Closes, Strained Relations, It's Only Rock and Roll, Watching the Girls Go By, Happy Returns, Hole in One, and Sleeping Dogs Lie. So, dude, actually, this series, we're very different.
Yeah, except for having To Hull and Back in our top spot, everything else is all different.
All over the place, yeah.
It's all mixed up.
It's all mixed up. No, thick and fruity. Actually, I find it interesting. Your Sleeping Dogs Lie is number 5, and your Watching the Girls Go By is number 8, and my 5 is Watching the Girls Go By, and my 8 is Sleeping Dogs Lie. So those two are the other way around.
We talked about that during the thing. It's almost like those two are flipped for us. We both have Strained Relations quite high, and then it's just that I like Hole in One and Happy Returns a lot more than you, and you like Watching the Girls Go By more than me. For the other two, it's pretty similar. I guess you have It's Only Rock and Roll quite high. Oh no, you've got As One Door Closes as your number 2.
Yeah, I think it's a great episode.
It's totally mixed up. We've got literally no similars here except To Hull and Back.
So at this point, we thought it would be interesting to see how many of our top 10 episodes that we've populated so far and what our bottom 5 are. So, dude, do you want to talk about the top 10?
Yeah, so for our top 10s, Heather, you've already got 2 of your top 10 in this. So we've got your number 4 is already To Hull and Back, and your number 5 is Healthy Competition. So you've got 8 spots left in your top 10. And for me, there's only one of my top 10 so far, and that is my To Hull and Back is my number 5. So yeah, I thought that's quite interesting. So you've got 8 and I've got 9 spots left. If you think ranking all of your episodes is too much work, and it is a lot of work and effort, just maybe you want to put your top 10s in the comments or your bottom 5s. It's easier. Is it surprising to you that we've only got this many populated at this late point? I don't think it's that surprising. I made a new chart with all of them, and they're all clumped in the middle at the moment, and then quite a lot of the bottoms are populated. But yeah, let's move on to the bottom 5. So what observations can you make?
Okay, so for the bottom 5, we both have 2 episodes each covered already, and one of them is the same. So we both have Christmas crackers in our bottom 5. So for me, it's 61, and for Jenny, it's 62. So very similar. And then I have Diamonds Off for Heather in my number 60 slot, and Jenny has It Never Rains in her 61. So we both have 3 spots left in our bottom 5. Now, I think you can probably guess what those 3 slots are going to be filled by. I guess the listeners can probably guess that as well. So regarding our award segment that we have been doing throughout our first 4 series, we're now going to award a few end of series awards, as we always do. So, dude, plonker of this series. I think looking at this list, Del got the most plonkers of this series.
Yeah, he always does though. Hasn't Del been our plonker of the series? Every series.
Well, yeah, but then Del often is the plonker.
I know, but you would think Rodney would get it more.
I mean, we can't give it to June, can we? She's only in 1 episode.
I think we should give it to Stan and Jean.
I was going to say Stan and Jean, June and Roy Slater are only in 1 episode, and they got the plonker, and then the only other plonker is Rodney, and he's only in 1 episode, so it's got to be Del. Del's got to get it again. Sorry, Del.
I feel like
you are the plonker of series 4.
I don't think it was a very good idea of mine to do the plonker based on how many times you got the plonker. Maybe it's who's the worst plonker. Because if I did that, I would give it to Stan and Jean.
I'd give it to Slater.
Nah, I still think what Stan and Jean did is worse.
So what about the best line of the series, dude?
So yeah, what's your choice then? We're not going to read them all out, but what's your choice for the best line of the series?
Looking at all the episodes, I have to go with the one that I think is the most relevant to Only Fools and Horses, and that is the quote from Strained Relations.
Bloody families, I've finished with them. What do they do to you, eh? Hold you back? Drag you down? And then they break your bloody heart.
That's what I chose too.
Yeah, I mean, you can't dispute it. It's an absolutely brilliant speech, and it's so emotional every time you watch it. No matter how many times you see it, it always gets you right here, like bile.
Yeah. Yeah. Honourable mention for Which Way to Holland and Hardly Overseas. You want to try walking?
I mean, to be honest, they're all great. They're all great lines, but the rest of them are all funny lines, and that's the only one that's serious. And just like series 1, we gave the best line of the series to the serious line, and I think for this episode we have to do that as well. Well,
for best moment, then, did you do the same thing? Did you choose Strained? Yeah, me too. I chose Strained Relations.
Because again, it's just so impactful. It's so meaningful. You can't overlook the significance of it in all of Only Fools and Horses. It's always in the clip shows for a reason, because it's just so brilliant. It's such an amazing moment of television, let alone the series of Only Fools and Horses. So yeah, it has to have that top spot for the best moment of series 4.
Yeah, I agree. And then, let's just quickly move on to our continuity checks. So there is not a lot to go on, Inspector. The main episode that mentions timeline and history in this series was Happy Returns, where we mostly just get the history of Del's relationship with June. No mismatches there, really, except for if we incorporate Rock and Chips, it would seem that June and Albie Littlewood would have been dating for a very long time, since they were already together before Rodney was born and didn't break up until he was 5. But I believe Rock and Chips is set in 1959 onwards, so hopefully I'm right about that. So we get 2 age mentions from Rodney, who is still 24 years old, presumably after 3 full Christmases have passed. And finally, we did get a little bit about Albert and Grandad's timeline, possibly going to get muddled up in the next series when Albert starts talking about his wife, Ada. So we'll add notes in here from Hole in One. He said that he learned how to fall when he was training to be a paratrooper in the Navy. And then he came back and helped out the family by falling down holes to get compensation. So that's all we get so far from this series. We do need the incorporation of the mention of Ada to prove that could be incorrect, because he says he doesn't speak to Grandad again after he meets Ada. So why would he be going home to help out Grandad if they weren't speaking? But it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's for next series. So apart from Rodney not aging, there are no major contradictions to previous series, I don't think. So unless I've missed anything, let us know in the comments if you have any thoughts. And finally, it's time for our end of series quiz. And this time it was Heather's turn to create the quiz for me. So here we go.
So I've got, for this quiz, I've actually done 10 questions this time. And I've got 1 question for each episode and 2 questions for To Hull and Back. And then I also did a general question for the whole series. So let's see how Jenny does. So I've tried to make them a mixture of difficult and easy. So, well, not easy, but medium at least. Okay, so starting with the question for Happy Returns. In Happy Returns, a shadow of a crew member can be seen on a door. So this is if Jenny was paying attention when we actually recorded the podcast, because I mentioned this. What is the line that Rodney says right before you can see the shadow?
Oh, I have no idea. I've never seen
and a
the
hint,
shadow.
I've got a hint for this. It's one of the lines you said you liked the most.
Is it Stone Me, Dale? You've been engaged more times on the switchboard.
Yes, it is. Congratulations.
But that was
I
a
knew
guess.
You need a hint for that
Yeah.
one. No, but I knew you'd need a hint for that one because you didn't see the shadow and I did. So yes, that's where the shadow is. If anyone wants to see it, shadow on the door. Okay. And question 2. So you got 1 right so far. Question 2 from Strained Relations. Other than Stan and Jean, how many other homes does Albert say he has stayed in before he gets to Del and Rodney's? And a bonus if you can name the people that he stayed with.
Oh, well, I definitely can't name the people. I was just trying to think if I can remember how many he refers to, but I'm going to have to completely guess.
That's okay.
It's either 2 or 3, I think.
Which one are you choosing?
2.
Correct. That is correct. So any idea about the names?
Nah.
So anyone listening along, I'll give you a second and then I'll tell you. So the first one is Cousin Audrey and her husband Kevin. And the second one is Gillian, Patsy's girl. Whoever the hell that is. So, yeah. I know that's really difficult. I didn't know either. I had to watch the episode to
That guess was based on the fact that I knew that he wouldn't talk about more than 2 people in the script, because I'm thinking that would drag on too long.
It would have gone on too long. Yeah. So you just think about the situation that he was sent out to Sainsbury's, and when he came back, they'd emigrated. And then the second one was she set the house on fire. And as he was jumping out the window, he thought, that's gratitude for you. So the next one is from Hole in One. So you've got 2 questions right so far. In the episode Hole in One, what is the last line of the first scene in the flat and who says it?
I think it's when Del's walking out and then Albert suggests that Rodney become like a toy boy. And Del says, Rodney can't even give it away, let alone flog it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Del's line, and that's correct. Well done, dude. I knew you'd get that one. That's a good one. Okay, lovely. So 3 correct, dude. You're doing really well. Question 4 from It's Only Rock and Roll. What is the name of the man who owns the Shamrock Club?
Oh, Liam.
Correct. 4 correct.
Yeah.
Good job. Question 5 for Sleeping Dogs Lie. What is the colour of Marlene's dress and gloves the first time we meet her character?
Her dress? Oh, not the big coat.
Dress and gloves.
Is it blue?
It is. Well done, dude. You're nailing this one. See, I knew I made it too easy because you said it was too hard before. Now it's too easy.
No, it's not too easy. It's just that I had to take a million photos of Marlene walking out that door to try to get something for Instagram, and it blew.
No, but you've got all of them right so far. I'm not doing well enough. I need to make it harder.
Well, I'm only halfway through, dude.
Yeah, but I'm sure you'll get these. Okay, so from Watching the Girls Go By, an episode that you don't favour as much as others. How many different locations do we see in this episode, and what is the order in which they are shown?
Oh, that is so difficult and complicated. Okay. We start in the Nag's Head, then we go to the flat, then we go to the flat again the next day, then we go to the bar, and then back to the flat.
Correct. All correct. See? And that's an episode you don't know as well. So you did.
I know I wrote the breakdown for it.
6 questions correct out of 6. Question 7 from As One Door Closes. How much is Del selling the super deluxe trimming combs for?
£1.
Oh, no, you got that one wrong. It's £1.50.
Ah.
For just £1.50, you can own this deluxe chewing comb. Is it sharp enough, mate? Is it sharp?
So Denzel bought one for
them
Corin at $1.50.
No, he got one for free. Hopefully. Okay, so these two questions are from To Hull and Back. So first of all, this one should be easy. What drink does Rodney order for Del in the first scene?
It's a Tia Marie and Lucozade.
It is, correct. And the second question, when Denzel sees Del crossing the road, how many other people are crossing with him?
Oh, this is going to be a total guess. 4?
Correct. Very good. So you've only got one wrong so far. Okay, this one I think you should get if you think about it. How many episodes out of the 8 in this series does Boise appear in?
Oh, I got to look at my list. So he is not in Happy Returns. He is in Strained Relations. That's 1. He's not in Hole in One. He's not in Rock and Roll. He's in Sleeping Dogs Lie 2. He's in Watching the Girls Go By 3. He's not in One Door Closes. And he's in To Hull and Back 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so a bonus, what I think is a hard question. In Strained Relations, when Del puts the sausage and alla, the old mash, on the table, what does he do with the tray afterwards?
Oh. Does he set it on the chair?
He does not.
He puts it on the floor.
He does not.
Puts it on the bar.
Nope.
He hits Rodney around the head with it.
Yes. He throws it onto the couch that's along the wall.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was something I noticed. And I was like, oh, I can ask that. And I was like, no, that'll be too hard. And clearly it would have been.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I got literally 5% right last time, so this will be a lot better.
Good to know where we are with the quizzes and what's difficult and what's easy.
So, dude, how are you feeling now that we're heading into Series 5?
Honestly, I'm feeling excited for Series 5 because Series 5, the episodes are a little bit more funny, I would guess. We're getting into really funny episodes starting in Series 5, I think. Just my opinion. Not that the Series 1 to 4 hasn't been funny, but yeah, there's some very strong moments in Series 5 and some great character developing moments in Series 5 as well. So yeah, I'm excited. How about you, dude?
Yeah, I mean, we've only got 3 series officially left, and then everything else after that is specials and, lengthy episodes, so it's going to start getting a little bit more difficult. Yeah, so by this point, you'll already have noticed that we split the episode To Hull and Back into 2, and we are planning to do that for every episode that's longer than an hour, because if we don't, then the podcast episode is going to be 2.5 hours long. So that's the plan. Hopefully everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, so I'm sure you're all really looking forward to our Royal Flush Uncut episode breakdown. You might get to hear some clips you haven't heard from a very long time in that episode breakdown. So yes, we're excited. So if there's nothing else, drink up, we're leaving.
Okay, so that's it for Series 4. So join us next week when we'll be starting Series 5 with Episode 1 from Pressure with Love. And for one last time...
My
Au revoir, listeners. If you like what you hear and want to contact us, you can email us at longlivehookeystreetpodcast@gmail.com. All one word, no spaces. Bonjour.